Choose life. Choose net zero. Choose clean air. Choose my career. Choose a big flip-flopping lie. Choose ignoring climate experts in favor of a Daily Mail hack. Choose 7-bin gaslighting. Choose saying you understand the struggles of ordinary people while keeping a straight face. Choose your friends, well, not working class friends. Choose this deceitful hunt. Choose exorbitant rents and insufficient housing. Choose to put your penis in a dead pig's gob. Choose the governmental shelf life of an iceberg lettuce with the financial savvy of a root vegetable. Choose sitting on a damp couch, breathing black mold in a mind-numbing, spirit-crushing Tory shit show. Choose nepotism, sycophancy, and barely concealed cronyism. Choose Windrush. Choose deportation and wondering where the f*** you are on a Sunday morning. Choose dying alone in a COVID-infested care home. Nothing more than an inconvenience to the spoiled, self-entitled brats you put in power. Choose your future. Choose life. But why would I do a thing like that? I chose not to choose life. I chose short-term populism. And the rail links? There'll be no rail links. Who needs railways when you've got a private jet?
The dangling carrot which most people are tempted by is their desire for eternal youth, extended life, superficial physical beauty, and an obsession with having the perfect face and body, which is something these technologies can easily offer us. I can already see the next wave of body image issues and dysmorphia that could come out of this, as more and more people are already willing to mutilate their bodies with cosmetic surgery, Botox, and fillers to look like the Photoshop pictures of themselves. Next, they may ask their surgeon or Botox injector to help them look more like the AI version of themselves. The perfection they are looking for is programmed into them based on beauty standards made popular by ever more synthetic and computerized images, along with what society and all the celebrity influencers tell them what is currently hot and sexy. It's not based on any standards of God-given natural beauty. Our idea of beauty has already become more artificial. As a result, we see an epidemic of Botox and lip filler injections. Women in their early 20s and even younger are now turning to Botox and fillers, chasing the ideal beauty standard they see popularized by their favorite influencers on social media. No one seems to point out this elephant in the living room, perhaps because it has become so normalized that we are already accustomed to seeing it everywhere.
So many chronic medical diseases are deficiencies in a mineral, deficiencies in a specific amino acids, deficiencies in a specific fatty acid. That's all that disease is. Dr. Chris Palmer, who Nisha talked about, he is going to turn the world of psychiatry, literally turn it upside down on its head and smash it on the concrete with the book that he's written, Brain Energy. Okay? Every mental health disorder, remember your brain, it's part of your body, it's connected. Every single one of them responds. Every neurological condition responds. Now, am I saying it'll cure every mental and neurological issue? No, maybe too much damage was done. Maybe you had it too long. I don't know. But it's going to slow the progression and it's going to decrease the severity of the symptoms without exception. In many cases, improving the symptoms to the point where it feels like it's either gone or completely in remission.
Any suggestions for low iron? I suffered low iron for 13 years until I solved the puzzle. Now, iron is bound up in food and it needs acid to liberate it or free it from food. So most people with low iron, they're either bleeding very heavily at period times, so they need the Anna's Wild Yam Cream to stop that. And they also can be low in hydrochloric acid because the acid liberates the iron. So why would someone be low in hydrochloric acid? If someone's eating every couple of hours, that exhausts the digestive enzymes, so they're low in hydrochloric acid. If someone drinks with their meals, it waters down their hydrochloric acid. If someone overeats, overburdens the stomach, it exhausts hydrochloric acid. If someone's highly stressed when they're eating, that exhausts hydrochloric acid. So to boost hydrochloric acid, only eat at meal times, only drink between meals. When you sit down to dine, the meal table should be a peaceful time. So how can you boost hydrochloric acid other than doing all that? Take a little bit of cayenne pepper with your meal, that'll wake anything up. Having the juice of a lemon with a little very hot water just before the meal, that can also boost hydrochloric acid. So you need to boost hydrochloric acid to release the iron from the food. Ferritin is iron stores, and the body uses protein to bind with iron to store it as ferritin. So often people with low ferritin levels, it's because they're not eating enough protein. And they may be eating enough protein, but if they haven't got enough hydrochloric acid, they can't break down the protein. So my suggestion is boost hydrochloric acid and start making sure you have lentils every day, nuts and seeds with the meal to boost the protein levels.
So the World Health Organization, this is from their document, Standards for Sexuality Education in Europe, but it's the same program everywhere. Now, these quotes are taken out from within the document. So according to them, children between 0 and 4 years must learn about masturbation and develop an interest in their own and others' bodies. It gets worse. Children between 4 and 6 years must learn about masturbation and be encouraged to express their sexual needs and wishes. Sexual needs and wishes? When I was 6 years old, I wanted a pony and an ice cream. Children between 6 and 9 years must learn about sexual intercourse, online pornography, this is still children 6 to 9, having a secret love. And self-stimulation. 9-year-old, 6. Okay, and then children between 9 and 12 years should have their first sexual experience and learn to use online pornography. That's the World Homicidal Organization, and that is why I have a document. Emma Sron, can you give me that? And this is Emma. She's one of my fellow steering committee members from the World Council for Health. I'm so proud to be a part of it. Emma drove here from Michigan, and this is Rejecting Monopoly Power Over Global Public Health from the World Council for Health, and I'd like to give each of you a copy. We brought you the summary because I know you've probably got a lot of reading already.
I will ask crowds this: which do you think is more important? More positive thinking or less negative thinking? Which is more important? Where do you get the most mileage? More positive thinking or less negative thinking? And the studies are unequivocal. It's less negative thinking. Really, positive thinking is important, and keep it up, keep it high. But if you want to get your real mileage, cut down on the negative thinking. Cut it down, cut it down, cut it down. That's the villain voice. That's the critic in your head. That's the demotivator. That's the discounter. That's the one that raises the doubts, and you can shut it up.
We're saying giants. Yes, there's a lot into the giants. You can look into, I think it's the ganchos of Azore Islands and all the different giant people in Peru, the elongated skulls. You can look at even in the primordial code, in the beginning of the documentary, the guy in Sardinia showed a tooth that was this big. I mean, imagine a tooth that large. I mean, my mouth, that's almost my mouth for one tooth. There's big people that are missing from the story. All of the stuff about the big people or the giants, all of that has been removed out of our history too. Because if you saw people that were 20 to 30 to 40 to 50 feet, it would really change your whole entire way of thinking. Think of the doorways. Like, look at this little door. This is an 8-foot door. Imagine having a doorway that's 50 feet or like 100 feet or 500 feet. What would you need a door that large for? I mean, it doesn't even make any sense, because think of the resources that you would need to get to building that door. You'd have to get all this gold and brass and all these different materials. You'd have to bring it all in on horse and wagon just to create a 500-foot door, you know, that you're trying to open. Imagine trying to open that. Think of the weight. You would have to be gigantic. You know, all these things that just really don't add up to the narrative we've been told. And that's why I like to just pick apart things, because when you start to look at a lot of these things, none of this stuff makes any sense. You know, even the stuff
thing called a spontaneous remission occurs quite frequently. What is a spontaneous remission? An individual is given a prognosis that, oh my goodness, you're going to die in about 3 months. I say, well, what does that individual do? If they buy the belief of the doctor, guess what? They're going to create a consciousness that will manifest that physical experience, and the cancer will kill them in about 3 months. Other people go, well, wait, if I'm going to die in 3 months, then I'm going to quit the stupid job and I'm going to leave the aggravating environment that I'm in. I'm going to go on the road and I'm going to enjoy myself for the last 3 months. And guess what? 3 months come and go, 6 months, a year, 5 years, they're still here. What did they do that was different? They changed the environment that promoted the cancer. A spontaneous remission is a change in the belief system, a change in the consciousness. And this is profoundly important because this is where we have to understand the control of life comes from. What is your consciousness? Are you visioning a healthy, happy life? Or are you concerned that running in your family is cardiovascular disease or diabetes? Point is very simple. What image you hold in your consciousness is translated into a physical expression.
So it's important to look at books before the 1920s. You'll see a very different world. You'll see a lot of talks about ether. And it's interesting because ether is before Einstein. Everything about Einstein was to debunk ether. But ether was already talked about before Einstein. And all of the stuff that Einstein talked about was after ether. So you think about it, they're just making up whatever they wanted to do. And that's what we saw with the whole germ thing. Germs are jumping all over. They just kept making up stories. You can only go out past 8 o'clock. You know, you can eat inside as long as you're outside, inside a tent. You can only stand on this sticker if it's 6 feet from each other. But you can't come 3 feet, but we'll put this plastic barrier over it so that the germs can't go underneath or over. They just started making up all of these things because when you're in this lie, you just keep making up more lies. And you keep telling people that, you know, germs are jumping all over and you got to cover up and cover yourself in a bubble. And what's real funny is when we look at it, we're all still here. And there's allegedly germs jumping all over. And we're all here having a great time talking about all these fun things because all of that nonsense with germ theory was debunked with the Lancaster study of 1923. But, you know, got to keep teaching it because you got to keep people in fear, because if people are in fear, you can control them. See how it all goes?
Your heart keeps on pumping, you know, because it wants you to live, it wants you to thrive, it wants you to learn the lessons that you came down here to learn. I think there were many others who wanted to take your place, to come down here, but they never got a chance. You did. So be mindful that you're here to learn things. And yes, some of them will be bad. Think of all the grateful people, for example, who've lost both their arms and both their legs. And they're still happy. They're happy to be alive. That's what it means to be grateful. An exemplar, a lesson for the rest of us who still have 2 arms and 2 legs, and we complain about it, how difficult life is for us. Well, no, it isn't. It's only you thinking makes it so. Whatever situation you find yourself in, be thankful for that.